Brothers and sisters, what's up? This is the Reluctant Nabi back again. And this is going to be an interesting video, so let's get right into it. Because, brothers, it's time for us to save ourselves, right? And we are at the point that we shouldn't have any of our children looking up to anybody in any of the media, especially if they're sportscaster. All right, they are bought and controlled. If not by the sportscaster, they are of their own group and own principles, which there aren't many principles that they live by. All right, and so we talk about the Jemele Hill, Michael Smith show. All right, and for the first time, I've heard somebody entering a conversation with this woman where they actually talked about what happened to Michael Smith. See, Jemele Hill got all the headlines. I want y'all to understand this. And the act that she committed was so egregious that anybody that cared enough about the history of Afro people in the United States, and then particularly the Afro male in the United States, they would have been upset at her and not supported her. But as it'll come out, most of the people that supported Jemele Hill, well, we are all products of the Smurfs. And when you're the product of the Smurf, you'll learn sports, you'll learn how to follow the plantation, but you will not learn how to think as an individual. You'll have group thought, and this is what's going on here. This, you'll see in a moment, the YouTube, go watch the whole YouTube video interview. And then I put up Breitbart.com. What the tweet was that really, just really, really caused the problem. See, it wasn't a normal tweet. And I'll break it down in a moment. And you know what's amazing? Is that you have more Caucasians that understand the gravity of the tweet than the so-called black, let's do this, the so-called black athlete. That's sad in and of itself. All right, let me greet everybody. Hovorten Hardugudag, Ola Oi to the bank, Vasas Los to the bank. Vasas Los Bonjour, mes amis, Kedo Bawani Konnichiwa. Ni hao ma, Sani Bonani, Jumbo Habaragani, Assalamu alaikum and shalom. All right, so again, let me remind you, thank you for the brothers that's been donating. You know, I got to make another trip because some of the soccer balls did not come in on time. All right. And so I had to reorder them. And so I'm going again in January. And then I'm going to take a rest for a while. I'll be doing things here in the United States. And I'll be trying to get with a lot of you brothers. All right. So I'll be going out of Florida. And if y'all want to arrange trips, just holler at me. And I've been going and showing brothers how to do these things personally. And so I'll be heading up to Georgia next after I get back from Brazil. All right. So, or I might go to Georgia before I go to Brazil. I don't know. All right. So basically, that's the breakdown. So if you would like to help this channel and what we do, you could donate to the channel at my PayPal me and at my Cash app. All right. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And when you subscribe, click the notification bell. All right, so let's get this breakdown of what's really going on here. All right, so brothers and sisters, as we get into what's going on here, I want y'all to just pay attention to something. All right. And this despising of Trump and the way this happened allow the powers that be to strip away, is allowing the powers that be to strip away all rights that we have gained of Afro people. They're going to strip them away because of people like Jemele Hill and everybody that supports her and the so-called people on the far left. And they're going to do that because of this. It is so easy for the media to gin these people up. And once they're ginned up, they go and destroy other people that look like them in ways that none of the organizations that developed over the history of Jim Crow and after slavery, they are destroying Afro people. Afro people are destroying Afro people in ways, and it's not the conservative Afro people either. It's all these people that despise Trump. And they're doing it by crapping on the names of the strong leaders that came before these people, the people that got them into these boardrooms and stuff like that. All right. They shed nothing. They stand for nothing. All right. This was the tweet. Hill, a far leftist who despised Trump and has falsely labeled the president as a supremacist, alluded to the assassination of Malcolm X. Understand this, who was gunned down in front of his supporters and family while preparing to give a speech at the Audubon Ballroom, 1965. Somebody at AOC say, yell out, whose man's is this? Actor DeSuze Nice posted on Twitter. Jemele Hill responded, nah, she ought to yell, get your hand out my pocket. The only people that do not understand the gravity of that comment are the so-called black people. So let me break it down for all you ignorant people out there who supported this woman saying this. Jeez. Y'all, it's hard. It's hard for me to put this work in because I need a break, brothers. I need a break. Okay. So basically, sorry, I get interrupted a lot while trying to do my videos. All right. And so it's kind of nerve-wracking when I have a thought. But basically, a lot of our history is not taught because the men usually set the curriculum, and because the Smurfs decided to get rid of the men that would set the curriculum in the community and settle for a men that would teach policies and things to children that would further destroy us, like how to move weight. Understand this. All right. A lot of these people that support Jemele Hill and say they support Malcolm X, we can now call them liars because they don't support Malcolm X. Either they're too ignorant to support Malcolm X, not understanding his history, only understanding the movie part or sound bites, or they understand exactly what happened to Malcolm X, how it happened, but they don't care because it's all about supporting the woman now in the man's space. I want y'all to understand what's happening. A lot of these dudes are saying that men don't have no space. And the only thing that matters is not even our own families, but that women in men's space need to be protected, even when what they do is wrong. And what she said is wrong. And to the point, to this point that it was so wrong, if you go and look in the Breitbart comment section, the Caucasians understood the remark. They understood the gravity of the remark. A lot of people understood the gravity of the remark. Do you know who didn't understand the gravity of the remark? Her supporters. This remark should have had people in black suits and ties coming up to escort her not only out of ESPN, but in a dark room and asking her like 3-degree questions as to what did you mean by this comment, aimed at the President of the United States. All right. So this shows you that a lot of people, if they have no respect for this, now I'm not going to, I don't respect politicians, but I'm not going to just say that you should say stuff like this to them. If y'all hear all my arguments, it's about their policies, and their policies designed to destroy the community. All right, but I want you to hear a breakdown of what's going on here on this show, and you will see that this is the bougie talking to the bougie, the bourgeoisie talking to the bourgeois. All right, this is the Mike and Donnie show. Why? Because you have to have eye candy on these shows, and this is the format. This is the sports media format. Why? Because the women so much wanted to be in men's spaces that they've lost their own spaces. It's happening in reverse. You know, all the Miss American, Miss World, Miss Universes pageants are about to be sued by the TGs, the alphabet group, because the same people that fought to be in men's spaces, right, say that we want to be in men's spaces, and so, well, you got groups saying that, well, if you could be in men's spaces, then we can be in your spaces and break your sports records and all this. And now the alphabet group want to participate as women in the pageants, and I can't see how the women can, the women born women can be upset about that, because they opened up that Pandora's box. So if it's good for them, then it's good for everybody. And I may not agree with it, right? If I was running things, a lot of things would be different, but I have to be with them. I'll be like, hey, what's fair is fair. I was like, yeah, they did do that Title IX thing. They did push their way into all of men things. So who am I in this government to say that the alphabet people can't push their way into all the women's things? And the same people that despise Trump, like these guys here, the bourgeoisie, they need to shut the hell up. They opened up this Pandora's box. They don't have nothing to say or no leg to stand on till everything self-corrects. Pay attention to this.
But you didn't change. And once again, I admire you for that. But you mentioned something about everything you went through when you went with the Trump tweet.
All right, now understand the Trump tweet. She disrespected the legacy of Malcolm X, one, said a tweet that was kind of a clear threat to a sitting president, that's two, disrespected what the Malcolm, what his family went through as children, because the children and his wife was present when these men, oh yeah, they looked like us, took him out, and what they said before they took him out. Understand the gravity of this. All right, and see how they say it's okay because you're going after the guy that we was told by the media to despise. But he did nothing personally to us. He's actually not caused any harm to the Afro people. And the people they support has done more damage. The party they support has done more damage to the Afro people and their family in the history of the United States. See, they want to remember somebody's history, but they want to forget the history of the people they support, even though it's the most egregious history towards us ever. But listen to this BS.
And you said that the collateral damage and how it affected Michael, whatnot. How did it affect Michael?
Well, he was left to man the ship. I mean, really, because the day, it was a crazy, crazy day because once the Trump stuff, the tweets, once they went viral and they really started, picking up steam, there was some behind closed doors conversations about whether or not I should be on air. And I'll be quite honest, what I think honestly saved me was black people. That's
okay. All right. So this is from the Mike Donnie show. So go see the whole thing. All right. We're talking about Jamal Hill. All right. And we're talking about what Trump tweeted back. So basically, the far left, there's no far left. I'll just say, I don't even know what to call these people. Because I'm not left or right. I go and give to people because I think it should be done. But then I'm not for all of the destructive stuff to the family either. I'm not about money, 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 money. That would make them to the right. You see what I mean? And well, money is to the right. Social justice is to the left. But the social justice that the left stand for is not social or justice. As a matter of fact, their version of social justice is to rob everybody of all their freedoms. Period. So I wanted you to see that. All right. So now let's move on. All right. So let's continue with the Mike and Donnie show, right? Pay attention to what she says.
damage. It was for a very long time after that. A lot of my colleagues were asked about me, whenever it was supposed to be pieces that were about them. But, the media and journalists were curious, so they would ask me what they thought. And I was not surprised at the people who thought I should have been suspended. I'm okay with that because they're allowed their own opinion. I mean, I didn't think them to be bad people. I mean, they don't have to live my life and I don't have to live theirs. So it's just like, oh, okay, that's fine. It wasn't going to make my life any more difficult than it was. But, when those things happen, honestly, you just don't give a whole lot of thought, at least I don't, to the people who didn't say anything. Right. I was more concentrated and more grateful for the people who did.
All right, so understand this. Mike Smith, as a result of her actions and his actions, right, but mainly her actions, which governed his actions. As a result, he has no lucrative job. We'll let her explain. But she don't care about that. She don't care about an apology, right? And quite frankly, had any one of us said what she said, I wouldn't be surprised if dudes showed up in suits and ties. All right. But in this society right now, given how they use the government to try to set Trump up, and this is what is so egregious, right? People are so wicked in this country that you're okay with setting up somebody you don't like simply because you don't like them. And you shut down anybody that has thought different from yours. That means you're the problem with freedom. But let's let her break some more down.
Because it did offer me a layer of protection. But
So she was
you know,
protected.
and Mike was one of those people, my co-host. I mean, when I first got suspended, they wanted him to do the show without me, and he refused. And
in other words, everybody defended a woman who disrespected the legacy of Malcolm X because she attacks a president, which is the easiest thing to do in a socialist left media. All right. But you can't stand up to the people that are destroying the community. Oh, because you agree with that destruction, because you're not for the community. You're bourgeoisie. You're making all this money doing all these journalism, and you're not doing journalism. No, that isn't what this is. Your job is to warp the minds of people and distract them from all the seriousness that's going on. They have a word for that.
And you know, if it would have been up to him, I think my whole suspension, he probably wouldn't have done it. But you know, he was just based off the position we were in. I mean, he had to go back to work, and it was, and he and I we've had a number of long talks about this. So I'm not speaking out of school, but I apologized to him, even though he didn't ask for an apology. Because I sent his career in another direction. See, when Mike walked into work the day of those tweets, he wasn't expecting that less than 6 months later, neither one of us would be on SportsCenter.
All right, and understand this. They're like, oh, wow. So nobody ever thought about the man. It's the woman getting all the interviews. And nobody ever thought about the damage to the man. That's why, brothers, you got to save yourself.
Okay? Yeah. And so I sent his career that just based off something I did. Now, I don't regret what I did, and I don't apologize for it, and he wouldn't expect me to.
Understand, don't regret it, don't apologize for it, even though it caused so much damage. And she was wrong.
But I wanted to at least acknowledge to him, hey, I know I messed you up, right? At that point, I'm a single woman. He is a husband, and he has 3 kids. He has much different responsibilities than me. And so I felt like I would be a terrible friend if I didn't at least tell him, like, dude, I'm sorry. You didn't ask for this, and I wish this could be something singularly I could experience. But unfortunately, we were joined at the hip.
And I know he's a writer, so he probably didn't even accept the apology.
No, I mean, he thought I was crazy to apologize.
Right.
All right, now understand this. He said a rider. So those people, understand this. The guy, Mr. Mike, none of them ride for the community. They only ride for the leftist narrative. But they do not ride for the community. Not the Afro community. They ride to promote the narrative of the left. And the narrative of the left is anti-Afro community. You understand? All right. At the time, and they hurried up and found some simp to marry her. They hurried up and did that. All right. Because at the time, she was a single woman, and she got hit for that. All right. And so, yeah, they programmed that with the quickness. They made it a big wedding and all of that stuff. All right. And you don't hear nothing about the husband because she's out front. See what I'm saying? People are typed to despise this president and this guy because he became president. Simply. That's it. And I call hypocrisy on the entire Afro community. I call hypocrisy on the entire African American community. I call hypocrisy on the entire so-called black community that now cannot stand this dude when they was bumping to him in all the hip hop videos, in all the hip hop rap songs. All the dudes in hip hop were aspiring to be like him. Understand this. Y'all watched him on The Apprentice and loved him. Understand this. And the same way he talks now is the same way he was talking on The Apprentice. All right. When he said the thing about the Central Park Five, he still was on The Apprentice. So y'all disagreed with him for that, which I disagreed with him for that. But nevertheless, nobody thought he was everything that people are saying he is now. And that's because when we were thinking for ourselves, we liked to show, we admired the buildings he built. But when he got into politics, the entire leftist media trumped up lies, pun intended, because they knew that many of y'all that are still ride or die for the leftists or ride and die for the people that can destroy you, and you will still be ride or die for them. And you think you're standing up for something because a bunch of other people with money, because you're bourgeoisie, and a bunch of clouded-minded people have been ginned up against this dude. And in one fell swoop, they are able to prove that Afro people stand for something, but the African Americans that's to the left don't. The so-called black people that's to the left don't, because they don't care how they got him out of there, whether they used the FBI to set him up or nothing. When I mentioned the report that came out Monday, a lot of people didn't bother to go look at it. They didn't want to see any evidence that this dude could be innocent of anything. So guess what's going to happen when it's them? All right. This dude cared more about her position than his family. Understand this. And his wife might have been along with it. All right. Everybody supported this woman in everything she did. They went and got her a husband and everything. Nobody supported the man. And all the men in the industry and athletes supported what she said, even though she was dead wrong. His job changed and everything changed because of her. And she still gets glory. And I haven't heard from him since. I don't even know what he's doing. I still see her on interviews. I don't know what he's doing. Y'all figure that out. Sad, isn't it? At the end of the day, it ain't about you, brothers. So you got to save yourself. And let her fade into the wall along with all her bourgeoisie friends. All right? Because we don't need none of them, really. With that said, I'm out.